Michigan State will hang another Big Ten championship banner to the rafters at the Breslin. The Spartans were really starting to roll when the season was shut down because of coronavirus. Tom Izzo joins us now. Tom, you guys were in Indy getting ready for the start of the Big Ten tournament when the plug was pulled. How crazy has this whole thing been for you?
Well, it's been crazy, Jack. My mother turns 94 next week, and we were kind of reminiscing the other day about going through the polio and the Depression, and then the World War II, and then, of course, the wars now, and of course, 9/11. But as she said, there's nothing been like this because it's invisible. It's more dangerous than I think people think, and it's been kind of interesting to see how everybody's handled everything. And to my surprise, a little bit of mixed feelings on how we're handling it.
Yeah, it seems especially unfair to Cassius Winston and your seniors, especially after all this team went through this year. And for Cassius to have this ripped away from him, how did you counsel him after this tournament was canceled, Tom?
Well, as you say, we were heading to Indy when it happened, and then 4 hours later, they canceled the whole thing. Went from canceling the Big Ten tournament to canceling the whole thing. And, I met with the whole team so they didn't hear it on Twitter. Talked to them, and then I met with my 4 seniors, and I talked to them, and then I met with Cassius by himself. He's been through so much this year and did such an unbelievable job when you look back. There's times I question everybody's toughness, and I probably questioned him at time. But if I ever question his mental toughness again, I should be the one at fault. Unbelievable what he did, how he did it, and it was a sad time for him, and yet the big picture to him is he had lost his brother. And then sure enough, within a couple of weeks, my assistant, Dwayne Stevens, lost his father to the coronavirus. So it brought everything kind of in perspective. I'm not sure we're all in perspective yet, but for Cassius Winston, the incredible career he had with maybe a chance to break some records if he got a chance to play a couple more games, it was a disappointing moment because you said it, we were playing our best basketball those last 2-3 weeks of the season.
Tom, you're like the Pied Piper. Everywhere you go, people are drawn to you, and I doubt there's a politician that's shaken as many hands as you have. How are you dealing with all of this separation?
No more hugs, kisses, or shaking hands right now. I promise you that. I went to a Myers the other day, and they got those shields up. My wife's got one in their room. It's everybody's, got to do what they got to do, and it's fun to make fun of some of it. But it's serious business. And, what I've done is, Jack, I've been here 45 days now. And I think I went to the store 3 times. And once when I went, people wanted to take some pictures. And my wife said, I'm not going to the store no more. And then I've gone once to a bike shop, wore my protective stuff, my mask, my gloves. But other than going outside and working out a little bit, going for a bike ride, I have not been in the public eye. I do respect what our medical people are saying. I'm confused like everybody else is, but it's one of those chances that I'm not willing to take right now, since it can be life or death, as we witnessed here with Dwayne's dad.
You can't travel to visit recruits. Yeah, there are no AAU games at this point. How strange is this whole recruiting cycle?
Well, I think they said Nick Saban just got an account on his computer, and I'm in the same boat, so I learned how to Zoom like we're doing now, talk to recruits that way. Tonight I have a family meeting with my parents and my players. I've tried to have 2 or 3 of them, and at least once a week we get the whole team on so that we can get some camaraderie. As hard as everything is, I'm worried about the mental toll this will take. I think back to being 18 to 22 and just think about being cooped up in a house. It's hard for me. It's probably hard for you, but just think our kids. So I'm worried about the mental aspect of it and trying to do some things that maybe get everybody together, let them laugh at somebody's beard, at somebody's hair, how long it is, all the things that somehow you can make light of some of this, because some of it is very serious business.
Tom, you're home more now than you've probably been your entire adult life. What are you doing? Are you doing puzzles, playing the accordion, reading books, shooting 1,000 free throws a day at your garage? How are you passing the time?
Cleaning, a lot of cleaning. I had 25 years of makeup for my wife, because I didn't do it for that. Gotten a chance to, when both my kids moved back in, and that's been good because we got a chance to do some things with the family. Did a lot of cleaning even on my garage, and I put a little golf simulator thing in there that I can hit balls against and putt out there, and we got a basket, so Steven and I shoot a little bit. Power wash a lot. I'm trying to do what everybody else is trying to do, and yet trying to keep our sanity and be productive. Watched a lot of film. I've watched TV shows that I think I can use, like the document on the Jordan. Where can I use some things that'll help my team if and when we get back together?
Yeah, I understand you're the man with the cleanest garage in Michigan. Does all this family time make you think you're closer to retirement or further from it?
Well, my wife had a good point on that. Mark D'Antonio, I just retired, and here a month or two later, we have this and we're all home. And my wife says, this will be a good audition for you. And I said, she must be talking about retirement. She says, no, I'm talking about trying to be a husband. So I thought that was pretty good, give her credit on that one. But, if it did make me think of anything, it wouldn't be to retire, because this isn't the way I want to live right now. It's a little boring to me. It's a little hand-tied. I think I felt better the last couple of years, even though we've been through some tough times here in a lot of ways. We've won 3 Big Ten championships in a row. We've been to a Final Four. And I really thought this year, Jack, we had a legitimate chance. We were playing good. We had been through hell. All the things we've been through, I think, kind of galvanized us. And I was looking forward to a good run, get you out on the road a little bit. But unfortunately, it didn't happen. And yet I count my blessings that right now, so many people I know are safe, and there are a few that I know that aren't. So I'm just counting my blessings.
I was ready for another tournament run with you. You've guided plenty of players through this NBA draft process, Tom. Xavier Tillman, Aaron Henry have some big decisions to make in the next month. How do you guide them through this in these times?
It is difficult. I think like my mother said, there's just some things that you've never gone through in your life, and it's come at a tough time for Cassius with the draft, Xavier and Aaron, because usually the reason they let these kids kind of look at where they're at is because that way they get a chance to measure themselves, go to Chicago, do those things, get feedback from NBA teams. Now they got to do it on Zoom. Xavier's had a lot of Zoom conferences with NBA teams. He's got one today. And I think, it's not quite the same. You can't prove yourself the same. It is going to be difficult. Aaron, I think it'll work out. In Xavier's case, where it's really, there's some big decisions to make, he's been lucky. His mom's been great, and they've been dealing with it. He's talking to the right people. He just all but 4-pointed his semester to add on to his academic All-American success. And he won't make a bad decision. It's just trying to make the right one with a lot of unknowns out there, Jack, and that's what we have here. But I think, I'm in contact with him every couple of days. He's been awesome how he's handled it. I just wish he had a fairer chance to get a real understanding of where he is. In the meantime, we're going to have to rely on the NBA friends I have, people that he knows, and we go from there.
Tom, when you see Xavier now, the way he's changed his body, much like Draymond did, the way he's succeeded on and off the court, what impresses you most about him?
Everything. It's amazing. I mean, he came in an okay student, but not a great student. He's mad now if he doesn't get a 4-point. I mean, I'm serious. His grades were unbelievable. And when you have an unbelievable semester, when you're going through what we're going through, that shows you that you're able to deep compartmentalize and concentrate on the task at hand. He's been one of the best teammates ever here. He's changed his body. He's changed his academic stuff. He's adapted. I mean, in the middle of the season, his wife has a baby. You talk about a guy that's handled it all. He's handled it all with class and dignity, and with, as a good teammate too. And it's hard to do all that when you got so many people coming at you. But if he's here, we're going to enjoy him and make him a pro next year. If he's gone, we're going to applaud him and enjoy him, hopefully in the NBA. And yet the next couple of weeks, I think will tell a lot according to more information we gather, how teams feel about them, and try to get an educated guess. And unfortunately, Jack, that's all it is a guess at the end. You just hope to have an educated guess.
Tom, you're a coach, a leader. You're no stranger to sharing a message to a big audience. What's your message to all the people who are hurting as a result of this pandemic?
You know, I feel for you. I think some of us are luckier than others, but we're all going through something. And I would just say, for one time, and I mean this, I don't care if we are black, if we are white. I don't care if we're rich and if we are poor. I don't care if we're a Michigan fan or a Michigan State fan or a Grand Valley fan or a Northern Michigan fan. I just don't care if we're even Democrat or Republican. I hope we all can get on the same page and do what's best for all of us. And the people that have lost jobs and things like that, I just want to say, you know, to hang in there. Tough times don't last. Tough people do, as we say. And my heart's with you. God bless you all. And thank you, Jack, for having me on. But thank you even more for understanding that there's a lot of people that have it worse. And yet, as bad as we have it, as I said, I just went through my assistant losing his father a few weeks ago to this pandemic or to this disease. And I just want to say that I'm thinking and praying for all of you. God bless you all.
I think we might just cut that out and put it out as a PSA, Tom. Great stuff. I want to go in a different direction here. Jim Harbaugh came out yesterday, called for a rules change, allowing players that don't get drafted to come back to college. Would you like to see that in basketball, or have it like baseball? If a kid doesn't get drafted when he's in high school, he can still go play in college?
Well, I don't know if that's all he said. He said about guys coming out as freshmen, and that's where the problems create. And I think, I just don't think it's healthy. I don't think he hasn't gone through that. He knows the NFL way. I think the NFL has had a good way. I think as we're seeing with this virus, when you're 18, 19, and 20 years old, I have nothing against those. I was one of those at one time myself. But people make bad decisions. And I think you're seeing in basketball, you know of a couple here, you know of a couple at Michigan and all over. People make bad decisions. And I think the younger you are and the less you've gone through, and I think people will make the wrong decisions. So as far as coming back, if you do go into the draft, I don't know. I don't know how that's possible. I heard him talk about you got to be academically eligible. Well, most of the kids that are in football, they're done playing in December, and they take off. They go with agents. They try to improve. I don't know how that'll work out. I don't know if they'll be able to go to spring ball if that happens. What I'm finding out, and I've been on a lot of committees, and everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but what I'm finding out, Jack, is that there are a lot of unintended consequences. It's like the transfer rule. It seems like, give kids the freedom. Well, if you had the freedom to come in when you wanted to, drive when you wanted to, drink when you wanted to, would that have been good? And that's the kind of things that I think are unintended consequences to all this. I don't know how you do that and keep roster management. Maybe you got to be smarter than I am to figure that out. I can't say I've actually enjoyed the baseball and football rules. I think the basketball rule has been hard on kids. I think there's a lot more that are failing than are LeBrons. That's just my opinion.
Well, change is never easy, and it takes time to make it happen in the proper way. Last thing, Tom, 3 high-profile players have opted to skip college and play in the G League. Does that scare you?
Scare? No. Disappoint? Yes. And I only say it again, and people are out there saying, well, kids should be able to make money. We've devalued education. We act like there's no money in education. There's a lot of money in education. And if people only knew what kids get when they come to college, it's not just their scholarship. There's so many other things you get. The G League, some people agree with it. Most people I talk to, it's a tough place to go. And, so I was disappointed. I felt for Michigan on this, and what happened. But I feel way more for the kid than I do Michigan or Michigan State or me or any other coach. I think the kids in the end, because for everyone who makes it, there's going to be 20 that don't. Mm-hmm. And what do you do then? You have no degree, you have no education. Maybe you're in the league a year or two, you know, the money you get there is gone. And so I think we're heading down a slippery road. That's my own personal opinion. What's wrong with education? What's wrong with a degree? I get kids that say, well, I just didn't like school. I usually get up and hug them, Jack, and say, God, you're just like me. I didn't like school either. You know, I didn't like eating spinach. You know, I don't like eating vegetables. I mean, you know, there are things that you got to do in life that are good for you. And I think it's our fault. I don't think it's the kids' fault. I think we've sped the process up so fast that these poor kids now are left with having to make tough decisions when they haven't. Like Xavier, he's going to graduate in 3 years. God bless him. You know, if he works on his master's next year and he's here, if he's in the NBA. But I think we've devalued education with all these kids coming out, not even going. And pretty soon you're going to see them not even finishing high school education. And if they all make it, God bless. But if they don't, heaven forbid.